Only 2 minutes remain. Sit, breathe deeply, and listen with an open soul, because what I am about to tell you now may change the course of your history forever. You did not arrive at this message by chance, and by the end of these words, I shall prove to you exactly why. 2 of your family members have done something terrible behind your back. It was not your imagination. It was not an exaggeration. It was not the fatigue of that difficult week. You felt it. Deep within your chest, you felt it. And today now, God is placing this word before you to deliver the confirmation you have been seeking for so many months, perhaps for so many years. But before fear takes hold of you, I need you to hear a liberating truth. The most serious problem is not what they did. The most serious problem is what you are carrying within yourself after that. Because the law of assumption is precise, it is silent, and it never fails. You do not receive in your life that which you ask for with your mouth. You receive that which you live as a sustained feeling within your chest, in the deepest state of your consciousness. You spent your entire life trying to manifest a new reality. You said prayers in the kitchen while washing dishes. You bought candles. You wrote requests on small folded papers under your pillow. You watched motivational videos until dawn with heavy eyes. And even so, it seemed that everything slipped through your fingers. Every achievement was accompanied by a betrayal. Every joy brought behind it a stab from someone you least expected. And you asked yourself in the silence of the bathroom with a wet face, why me? Why always me, my God? The answer is harsh, but it is the key to everything. You attracted exactly what you felt yourself to be, while 2 people from your family operated against you in the invisible, with envy disguised as affection, with words spoken from the corner of the mouth, with poisonous thoughts that crossed kilometers until they reached your home. You internally assumed the state of consciousness of the betrayed person, of the small person, of the forgotten person. And by occupying this state, you gave energetic permission for that to deepen, to expand, and to bring you down further and further. But the hour has come. God brought you here now because you need to understand what Neville Goddard revealed nearly a century ago. Feeling is the secret. It is not the soulless repeated prayer. It is not the candle lit in the corner of the room. It is not even faith understood in the superficial sense they taught you. It is the sustained feeling of already being that which you desire. It is the I Am, in its purest and most powerful form, declaring to the entire universe, I am already blessed, I am already protected, I am already untouchable before any force that tries to operate against me. And when you occupy this state, even those 2 family members who plotted against you become impotent. They continue trying, but what they send no longer reaches you, because your frequency has changed. And it is exactly at this point, exactly where you are now, feeling each word descend like warm water through your chest, that I must confess something to you. This video did not come to you as an ordinary video. There is a purpose behind it. There is an invisible hand guiding this message to the right eyes, and your eyes are those eyes. There are days when you wake up with that strange sensation in your chest, that tightness without reason, that warning that seems to come from above, but which you cannot translate into words. This is not nervousness, this is your spirit trying to warn you. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. Its name is How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment. And it was not written for the multitude. It was written for those who, like you, feel that there are signs being sent but still cannot clearly read the language of the Spirit. Thousands of Brazilian brothers reported that after applying what is in those pages, they immediately perceived who was operating against them and managed to cut that route with the authority of the I Am. Entire families were restored, marriages were saved, children returned home. The link is just below in the description and pinned at the top of the comments. And I must warn you with all honesty, this material may go offline at any moment, because what is revealed there bothers many people who do not want you to awaken. If you feel that this call is yours, write an Amen here in the comments as a decree of acceptance that you heard the invitation and are ready to receive. Now listen carefully, because I am going to deliver to you the first truth that will unlock everything. There is a place within you called the 4th dimension. It is not a physical place. It is the space where everything you imagine already exists, is already real, is already ready. Neville Goddard taught us that in this 4th dimension, time is not linear. The past, the present, and the future coexist at the same time, And when you assume a mental state, a sustained feeling, you are not asking for the future to happen. You are crossing over to a version of your life where that is already reality. Stop. Reread mentally what I have just said, because therein lies the secret that few have understood. Think well. Those two family members who did something terrible against you managed to reach you precisely because they occupied in their field the state of one who wanted you small, failed, unhappy. They sustained this feeling even without knowing that this was a spiritual technique. They envied, and their envy was an internal dialogue repeated so many times that it became an energetic signature. And this signature found in you a weak point, your own state of lack, of insecurity, of fear. Where there was an opening, they entered. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine that from this exact moment you begin to occupy the state of consciousness of one who is loved by God, protected by the angels, blessed in all areas of life. It is not pretending. It is not repeating empty phrases. It is truly feeling, as if it were warm water running through your body, the absolute certainty that you already are everything you have always desired to be. When you do this, and sustain it, and persist, because persistence is the key, and Neville repeated this until he was weary, the universe has no choice. Your new frequency pushes out anything that vibrates in disharmony with you. And here is the common error that annuls your manifestation, and you must stop right now. You pray, you feel, you believe for 10 minutes, and then you fall. You fall into a thought of fear. You fall into a gossip conversation with the neighbor. You fall into a cell phone update that reminds you of an overdue bill. And in that exact second, you leave the state of abundance and return to the state of lack. And the universe, which is faithful, simply delivers to you again what you are feeling at the moment. That is why life seems to take 1 step forward and 2 steps back. It is not a curse. It is not the evil eye. It is your own feeling alternating between faith and fear, and the result being a confused, slow, painful manifestation. You are planting wheat and tares in the same soil and then complaining about the harvest. Today this ends, and that is why I insist. You cannot leave this video without securing your access to the right material. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment is waiting for you in the link in the description and pinned at the top of the comments. It is not just a book. It is a map for you to sustain the correct state all the time, even when the world collapses around you. Your family depends on this change of yours. Those who heard the call and postponed it lost their time. Do not be you. Go now. Now pay attention, because this next part will deliver to you a technique called the Bridge of Incidents. And it is, without exaggeration, one of the most powerful tools that exist for the reprogramming of the subconscious mind. Neville Goddard taught that between the state you're in now and the state you wish to reach, there are small intermediate events, incidents, that serve as invisible steps. Your subconscious mind needs to cross this bridge. It needs to create the logical sequence that will bring the new reality to your door. And when it creates this bridge, nothing in the physical plane can prevent the delivery. I will give you a concrete example, the kind that truly touches the Brazilian. Imagine a woman of 45 years, mother of 3 children, with the electricity bill overdue, the rent arriving on the 10th, and the husband distant after a nasty fight that dragged through the week. She has a clear desire in her heart. She wants financial stability. She wants peace within the home, and she wants to feel that she is loved again. If she only prays asking for these things, and for the rest of the day walks through the house with a tight chest, thinking about how everything will go wrong, she remains trapped in the state of lack. But if she applies the Bridge of Incidents, everything changes. How would she do it? Before sleeping, and this is fundamental, because the moment before sleep is the gateway to the subconscious, she closes her eyes and imagines a short, simple, real scene. Perhaps she sees herself opening the door of the house and smelling a good scent coming from the kitchen. The husband is there, smiling. The children are calm. She passes by the table and sees the paid bills with that green stamp of settlement. And she feels with her heart the deep relief of a woman who knows she is protected. She remains in this scene in a loop until she sleeps. And she does this every night with persistence, without questioning, without doubting. What happens in the invisible? The subconscious mind begins to build the bridge. It will generate small incidents, An unexpected client calls offering work. A neighbor appears with a referral. The husband has a dream that sensitizes him. A child begins to behave better for no apparent reason. All these are steps of the bridge of incidents being built in real time. And in a few weeks, that woman who was buried is living the scene she imagined. Not because she asked, because she occupied the state. And here is where those two family members who plotted against you completely lose power. Because while they continue emitting poison, you are building bridges. While they live in the state of envy, which is, spiritually, the worst state a human being can occupy, you are living in the state of anticipated gratitude. And these two frequencies cannot coexist at the same point. He who vibrates higher wins, always. And listen well, you will always vibrate higher if you understand this truth. Another fundamental technique, and one that few Brazilian teachers explain correctly, is that of internal dialogue. Did you know that more than 90% of what you say to yourself during the day is unconscious repetition of what you heard from your mother, your father, your grandmother? Think for a second. How many times have you caught yourself saying, inside your head, phrases like, "I cannot. It always goes wrong for me. Good things are for others. Money is only for those who steal. True love no longer exists." These phrases are not yours. They were installed in you when you were a child, and they continue running like defective software, delivering to you exactly the life they describe. The law of assumption demands of you a radical change in internal dialogue. You must begin now, today, this minute, to hear yourself speaking to yourself in a completely different way. When fear comes, you respond with the I am. I am guided, I am abundant, I am loved, I am untouchable. And when the memory of those two family members comes, because it will come, especially in the first weeks, you respond with firmness. I have already forgiven, I have already let go, I am already on a higher plane, and they no longer have access to my life. You verbalize this, first aloud in the bathroom mirror, then in silence in the depths of the soul. And in a few days your nervous system changes, your face changes, even your body posture changes. When you feel this type of transformation happening in your chest, it is a sign that God is already acting. But for this transformation to become permanent, you need the right material in your hands. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment has the link just below in the description and pinned at the top of the comments. Each page was written with a specific intention, to give you the tools to sustain your new state of consciousness even when the storm returns. And it will return. It always tries to return. But this time you will be ready. Do not allow this message to end without you having secured your access. He who is called and ignores pays the price. He who is called and obeys receives the inheritance. Let us advance even deeper. There is a practice called nightly reprogramming, and it is literally the key that unlocks everything. Modern neuroscientists have confirmed what Joseph Murphy already said in 1963. In the 5 to 10 minutes before sleeping, your brain enters the state of alpha waves and soon after, theta waves. In this interval, your conscious mind loosens its control, and the door of the subconscious is wide open. Everything you plant in this moment becomes programming. Everything that enters there will direct your life in the next 24 hours. And what do most Brazilians do at this exact crucial moment? They pick up the cell phone, they scroll through social media feeds, they read bad news, they argue in family groups on WhatsApp, they watch videos of tragedy, and they go to sleep with the subconscious crammed with fear, scarcity, and revolt. Then they wake up asking why life does not change. Life does not change because you are planting the seed of your own misfortune every night without realizing it. You are the gardener of your own hell, and you can also be the gardener of your own paradise. The choice begins today. From today you will change this. The last 15 minutes before sleeping are sacred. Leave the cell phone far away, turn off the light, and do the following exercise. Visualize with all your senses a short scene in which your desire has already been realized. It is not an epic scene. It is a simple scene. You opening an envelope with good news, you sitting at the table with the reconciled family, you receiving the result of an exam that shows the cure, you driving the car you always wanted, smelling the scent of the new upholstery. Place the 5 senses in the scene. See, hear, smell, touch, feel, and remain there until sleep takes you. This is pure nightly reprogramming, and it is so powerful that within 90 days, at most 120, your life begins to reflect this new reality. Why? Because the subconscious does not distinguish between what is vivid imagination and what is real experience. For it is all the same thing, and it will work tirelessly during sleep, during the day, in every small decision, in every encounter, in every thought, to lead you to that reality you planted. And now let us talk about what I know many Brazilians need to hear: the stress with bills, the fear of unemployment, the anguish of a labor market that increasingly demands more and pays less. You wake up with that tightness in your stomach. You pass by the electricity bill hanging on the refrigerator and look away. You open the bank application and close it quickly so as not to see the balance. This, my dear, is the frequency of lack. And while you operate in this frequency, even if you earn more, even if you receive a promotion, even if you get a 13th salary, the money slips away. It vanishes. It goes away even before you notice, in a forgotten bill, in medicine that needed to be bought, in a refrigerator that broke at the worst time. The law of assumption teaches you the opposite. You must begin to feel right now, before any change in the external world, the sensation of one who has money to spare, of one who pays bills with tranquility, of one who opens the bank application and sees the balance grow, even if it is not yet so. You must occupy this state first, and then the universe will reorganize itself to match what you are being. This is the correct sequence, always. Being comes before having, never the opposite. And he who inverts this order spends his entire life chasing his own tail. And about love, you who have been alone for so long, you who grew tired of applications, of encounters that lead to nothing, of people who appear and disappear like ghosts, stop asking for a new love. Stop. Begin to feel today, now, that you are already loved, that there is someone walking toward you at this exact moment, someone who was prepared by God for you, and the only thing that separates you is your frequency. If you vibrate in lack, you attract people in lack. If you vibrate in fullness, you attract someone in fullness. And when these two frequencies meet, what is born is eternity. The bridge of incidents of love is one of the most beautiful. Imagine, before sleeping, a scene of Sunday morning. You wake up and feel the weight of a head on your shoulder, a hand taking your hand under the sheet, a good scent of familiar skin, a voice saying good morning with affection. Remain in this scene, feel and do this for 30 consecutive nights. In a few weeks, I guarantee someone appears, not exactly as you imagined in detail, but with the exact essence of the feeling you sustained. Because the universe delivers the feeling, not the exact form. And many times it delivers in a way you had not even imagined, and even better. And about healing. You who have someone sick in the family, or who carry in your own body a difficult diagnosis. I must tell you with all truth, the body is the last to manifest. It is the final reflection of everything that has accumulated in more subtle layers. Thoughts, feelings, words, stored resentments, unwept traumas, all this descends slowly, slowly until it becomes a cell, becomes tissue, becomes a symptom. And when you invert the process, when you change the feeling, when you change the internal dialogue, when you occupy the state of consciousness of full health, the body responds. It may take time. It may take time, but it responds. I have already seen absurd stories of people who, sustaining the state of health with unshakable faith, saw diagnoses vanish in control exams, perplexed doctors, families in tears. And those two family members? What to do with them now? Here is the truth that few have the courage to say. You do not need to confront. You do not need to expose. You do not need even to distance yourself physically if that is not the case, but you need, internally, to perform a surgery. You need to understand that what they did only reached you because there was in you a point of resonance. You believed deep down that you deserved to be treated that way, that it was your fate, that it would always be so, that this was your place in the family, the place of the one who endures, who swallows, who smiles when they should scream. When you change this internal state of consciousness, when you begin to see yourself as a son or daughter of God, as an heir of the kingdom, as someone who has spiritual authority in their own name, I am, these people lose access. It may be that they distance themselves on their own without explanation. It may be that they have a crisis of conscience and try to apologize. It may be that they continue in your life, but completely neutralized, as if they were wax figures, without any strength over you. Whatever happens will happen in the best way. You do not need to control. You only need to sustain your new frequency. And science has confirmed all this. The HeartMath Institute in California proved in decades of research that the human heart generates an electromagnetic field 5,000 times stronger than that of the brain. This field extends for meters around you, and it carries emotional information. That is, when you occupy a feeling of peace, of gratitude, of faith, this field becomes coherent, organized, and influences everything around you, including other people. You enter a room and the room changes. You pass through a line at the bank and the person behind you smiles without reason. You answer the telephone and the news comes lighter. All this is your field working for you. And when the feeling is the opposite, when you are in rancor, in fear, in anger, in revolt, this field becomes chaotic and attracts exactly the corresponding chaos. Life begins to break in all areas. It is not punishment, it is physics, it is how it works. And that is why what Neville Goddard called feeling is the secret is so precise. It is not a metaphor, it is measurable reality. Science is only now arriving where spirituality arrived millennia ago. There is also a point I want to touch upon, and it hurts, but it is necessary. Many Brazilians live today in a silent anguish because of children who distance themselves, parents who age sick, marriages that turn to ashes. And the feeling that settles in is one of impotence. How to change this if it does not depend only on me? The answer is challenging, but it is true. It depends on you, yes. Because you, occupying the correct state, generate a field so powerful that it drags other people into a new spiritual configuration. You cannot force the will of the other, but you can create the energetic conditions so that the other has an insight, a turn, a repentance, a reconciliation. The mother who sustains in silence every night, the image of the son returning home sitting at the table, embracing the family, this mother is making a bridge of incidents. And the son, even without knowing, begins to feel. He begins to have dreams about her. He begins to remember scenes from childhood for no apparent reason. He begins to feel longing. And one day he picks up the phone, or appears at the door, and everyone calls it a miracle. But it is not. It is the law of assumption operating exactly as it has always operated. The wife who sustains the image of the husband sober, present, loving, even while seeing the opposite invisible reality. This wife is building the bridge, and at some moment the husband has the right encounter, hears the right word, crosses the bottom of the pit and returns. I have already seen it happen. I have witnessed it. And I tell you, it works. It works when you persist. It works when you do not doubt. It works when you sustain the feeling even in the deepest darkness. That is why persistence is treated by Neville as the supreme virtue. It is not faith in a moment. It is faith sustained for 90 days, 120, 200, whatever is necessary. It is returning to the correct state every time the world tries to take you from it. Every time, without exception, without tiring, without giving up. And 1 hour, and this hour arrives, the external reality simply yields and reorganizes itself to match that which you became inside. You need to understand that there is a concept that Neville Goddard used much, and that few understand, the law of reversion. Everything that you can imagine with clarity and feel with conviction can be reversed in the physical plane. That is, if today you are in a situation of divorce, of illness, of bankruptcy, of loneliness, this same state can be completely reversed, provided that you internally occupy the opposite state. Imagination is the factory of reality, and your imagination is working 24 hours a day even when you do not perceive it. The difference is whether it is working in your favor or against you. Those two family members, and here is the final secret of this part, are also products of an imagination, your imagination regarding them. And while you imagine them as powerful enemies, they are powerful. When you begin to imagine them as confused souls, lost in their own poison, trapped in their own chaos, their power over you dissolves. They continue being what they are. But for you, they lose strength. They lose access. They lose space within your field. There is also a technique called revision. Neville taught that you can every night revisit your day and mentally rewrite the scenes that bothered you. If someone treated you poorly today, you close your eyes and imagine, with sharpness, the same scene, but now with that person treating you with respect, with affection, with consideration. You rewrite, and you persist in this rewriting. The subconscious registers the new version as if it had been the real one, and in the next encounter with that person, their behavior changes. This seems like magic to those who do not know, but it is simply the way the universe works when you operate within the correct laws. Can you imagine what would happen if you applied revision for 90 consecutive days? You would rewrite every micro scene of your life that hurt you. You would cut, on the spiritual plane, all the threads that still bind you to the past, and you would emerge on the other side as a new person, not in speech, in essence, in frequency, in the field. People would begin to treat you differently without knowing why. Doors would begin to open out of nowhere. Surprise telephone calls, opportunities falling into your lap, money entering through paths you did not even know existed. And I want to tell you something that perhaps no one has told you yet. You do not need to understand all this intellectually. You only need to begin to apply it. The human mind is very intelligent. It wants to understand. It wants to plan. It wants to control. But the subconscious is not intellectual. It is emotional. It is sensory. It responds to feeling and not to explanation. That is why many Brazilians who try to study the law of assumption by reading 10 books and watching 30 videos do not achieve results, because they stay in the head. And the path is not through the head, it is through the chest. Place your hand over your heart now. Yes, now, feel the heartbeat, feel the heat, and say aloud or in silence 3 times. I am blessed, I am loved, I am protected. Feel each word descending through the body. It is not empty repetition, it is a decree. It is planting, it is your frequency being recalibrated in real time. And in this minute, I guarantee those 2 family members, wherever they are, doing whatever they are doing, begin to feel a discomfort that they cannot name, because your change of state interrupts the channel through which they operated against you. It is as if a cable were cut. They try to call and it is busy. They try again. It is busy. They begin to lose control, and this bothers them deeply. But you do not even know. You only know that you feel lighter, that you slept better, that you woke up with a new idea, that the fear left without you noticing when. This is the path. This is the secret that the ancients kept. This is the knowledge that Jesus wished to transmit when he said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. It was not egomania. It was a technical teaching. The I am is the divine name that each of us carries within, and when you activate it consciously, you become a co-creator of your own reality, not in the magical sense, in the infantile sense that many sell out there, but in the deep, spiritual, real, measurable sense. You did not arrive at the end of this video by chance. It was not free time, it was not distraction. It was a direct call, and you answered. Now the responsibility is yours. Those 2 family members lost their power, but only if you do not return to the old state. And returning is easy. A bad morning, an argument, a piece of news is enough. That is why I insist. That is why I prepared the powerful digital book for you. How to Know If God Will Save You at the Final Judgment has the link in the description below and pinned at the top of the comments. Each page was written to sustain your change when the world tries to pull you back, and it will try. Do not allow this message to become just one more that you saw and forgot. Secure your access now before this content goes offline, and write in the comments as a decree of acceptance, I am blessed, I am protected. Amen. May this be your first act of the new era, and may God keep you from this hour forward forever and ever.